Hello, everyone. Uh, uh, is this anyone there? I think this channel just like a place for me to store my diary, I think. And I'm so happy I'm doing it. So I'm doing it. I can read English, I can improve my English, and I can record the process. Um, and I can see the improvement maybe after 1 or 2 months. Um, I will have a work placement next year. That's so great for me. So I have now is October 14. Next year, so I have 3 days to improve my English. If I can read every day, I think I can get improvement. So let's begin. Do you like it? Flattered. Amgad. Amgad. Do you like it? Now, mine is Sarah. Yours is very pretty. It sounds like a storybook. Do you like it? Fluttered Ermengarde. I like yours. Mrs. Jones's chief trouble in life was that she had a clever father. Sometimes this seemed to her a dreadful uh, calamity. A dreadful calamity. If you have a father who knows everything, who speaks 7 or 8 languages, and has thousands of volume, which he has apparently. I need to check these words. Calamity. This word, calamity. Oh, calamity.
Calamity.
Calamity. Calamity. Oh,
Calamity.
calamity. Control Shift. I don't know what's wrong with my it's strange. Yeah. Calamity. Sometimes this seemed to her a dreadful calamity. If you have a father who knows everything, who speaks and has thousands of volumes, which he has apparently learned by heart, he learned by heart. He frequently he he frequently expects you to be familiar with the contents of your license book at least. He frequently expects you to be familiar with the contents of your books, your lesson books at least. And it's not improbable that he will feel you ought to be able to remember a few incidents of history and to write a French exercise. and is not improbable, and it's not improbable that he will feel you ought to be able to remember a few incidents of history and to write a friend. Ermengarde was a severe trial. Ermengarde was a severe trial. Severe. Ermengarde was a severe trial. Severe trial to Ermengarde was a severe trial to Mr. Simpson. He could not understand how a child of his could be a notably and unmissed who never shine in anything, could be a notably unmistakably dull creature, noble, notably and unmistakably dull creature who never shine in anything, who never shine in shone. I have to check this. Shone, who never shone. Shone.
Shone. Shone.
Shone, who never shone in anything. Good heavens! He had said one more than once as he stared at her. There are times when I think she is as stupid as her Aunt Eliza. Good heavens! He had said more than once as he stared at her. There are times when I think she is as stupid as her Aunt Eliza. If her Aunt Eliza had been slow to learn and quick to forget a thing entirely when she had learned it, Ermengarde was strikingly like her. I think it's varieties. Strikingly. Strikingly.
Strikingly.
Strikingly. 引人侧目的，醒目的，引人侧目的。Was strikingly like her. She was the nominal dance of the school, and it could not be denied. She was the monumental. Monumental.
Monumental.
Monumental.
Monumental.
Monumental. She was the
Monumental.
monumental dance. Monumental. 非常的不朽的。Oh. Something wrong with my cursor, I think. Monumental dance.
Dance.
Dance. Dance.
Dance.
Monumental dance. It's like I am the monumental dance of myself. 显著的。Monumental. Monumental. 不朽的，非常的。Why? Because. 不朽的，非常的。笨学生。哦，笨。She was the monumental dance of the school, and it could not be denied. She must be made to learn. She must be made to learn, her father said to Miss Minchin. Consequently, Ermengarde spent. Consequently, I think we need this one. Yes. Consequently, Ermengarde spent the greater part of her life in disgrace, or in tears. Oh my God, poor girl. If she learned things and forgot them, or if she remembered them, she did not understand them. So it was natural that having made Sarah's acquaintance, she should sit and stare at her with profound admiration. So it was natural that having made Sarah's acquaintance, she should sit and stare at her with profound admiration. You can speak French, can't you? She said respectfully. Sarah got on to the window seat. Sarah got on to the window seat, which was a big, deep one, and tucking up her feet, sit with her hands clasped, and sit with her hands. Sarah got onto the window seat, which was a big, deep one, and tucking up her feet, sit with her hands clasped. Or just this one. Clasp. No? Clasp.
clasp,
clasp, clasped round her knees. I can speak it. I can speak it because I have heard it. I have heard it all my life, she answered. You could speak it if you have already heard it. Oh, no, I couldn't, said Ermengarde. I never could speak it. Why? inquired Sarah curiously. Ermengarde saw that the pigtail wobbled. Wobbled. Wobble.
wobble,
Wobble. You heard me just now. You heard me just now, she said. I'm always like it. I can't say the words. They are so queer. You heard me just now. Like that. Oh, I am always like that. I'm always like that. I can say the words. I can't say the words. They are so queer. She paused a moment and then added with a touch of awe in her voice. With a touch of awe. Of awe. Then added with a touch of awe in her voice. You are clever, aren't you? Sarah looked out of the window into the dingy square. Dingy. Let's think. Dingy.哦，dingy 居然是暗淡的发灰的。Dingy. Why do you read for me?
Dingy.
Dingy. 暗淡的。Dingy Square, where the sparrows were hopping and tweeting, were hopping and white. I know it, but I can't. White.
Wet.
Where the sparrows were hopping and tweeting. And tweeting, hopping and tweeting on the white iron railings. Iron. I always can't read this word. Iron.
iron,
Iron. On the white iron railing and salty railing. Real, I think it's 栏杆啊。Railing 栏杆的意思。Railing hopping and tweeting on the white iron railing and the salty哦 眉眼熏黑的乌黑的 sooty
sooty,
sooty and sooty branches sooty 被霉熏黑的被霉眼熏黑的熏黑的At the sooty and the sooty branches of the trees, she reflected a few moments she had heard it sighed. She reflected a few moments she had heard it said very often that she was clever. She reflected a few moments. She had heard it said very often that she was clever. She had heard it said very often that she was clever. She had heard it said very often that she was clever, and she wondered if she was, and if she was, how it had happened. I don't know, she said. I can't tell. Then seeing a round chappy face, then seeing a mournful moan moan
mournful,
mournful哦 mournful 悲痛的，令人伤心的。Mournful look, then seeing a mournful look on the round chappy face, she gave a little laugh and changed the subject. Would you like to see Emily? She inquired. Who's Emily? Ermengarde asked, just as Miss Minchin had done. Come up to my room and see, said Sarah, holding out her hand. They jumped down from the window and went upstairs. Is it true? Ermengarde whispered, as they went through the hall. Is it true that you have a playroom all to yourself? Yes, Sarah answered. Papa asked Miss Minchin to let me have one because, well, it was because when I play, I make up stories and tell them. I make up stories and tell them to myself, and I don't like people to hear me. It spoils if I think people listen. Spell it. It spoils. It spells it if I think people reached the passage. They had reached the passage leading to Sarah's room by this time. And Ermengarde stopped short, staring and quite losing her breath. They had reached not passage 吧 Yeah, it is passage.
Passage.
passage. 通道 They had reached the passage leading to Sarah's room by this time, and Ermengarda stopped short, staring and quite losing her breath. "You make up stories," she gasped. "Can you do that as well as speak French, can you?" Sarah looked at her in simple surprise. "Why, anyone can make up things," she sighed. "Have you never tried?" She put her hand warningly on Ermengarda's. Warning. Boy. Warning. "Let's go very quietly to the door." She put her hands warningly on Ermengarda's. "Let's go very quietly to the door," she whispered, "and then I will open it quietly suddenly. Perhaps we may catch her." She was half laughing, but there was a touch of mysterious hope in her eyes, which fascinated Ermengarda, though she had not the remotest idea. Remotest. Remote. 远离的，远程的。
Remotest.
Remotest. Remotest. Remote. Remotest. Remote. 远程的，远离的，微小的。Remote. Though she had not the remotest idea what it meant, or whom it was she wanted to catch, or why she wanted to catch her, Ermengarda, which fascinated Ermengarda, though she had not the remotest idea that it meant, or whom it was she wanted to catch, or why she wanted to catch her. Whatsoever she meant, Ermengarda was sure it was something delightful, exciting, so quite thrilled, so quite thrilled with expectation, so quite thrilled with expectation, she followed her on tiptoe along the passage. Followed her on tiptoe. She followed her on tiptoe along the passage. They made not the least noise until they reached the door. Then Sarah suddenly turned the handle and threw it wide open. Then Sarah suddenly turned the handle and threw it wide open. It's opening revealed the room quite neat and quiet. Its opening revealed the room quite neat and quiet. A fire gently burning in the grate. The in the grate, and a wonderful doll sitting in a chair by it, apparently reading a book. Quite neat. Quite. Quite.
Quite.
Quite. Quite neat. Quite neat and quiet. Its opening revealed its Its opening revealed the room quite neat and quiet. A fire gently burning in the grate, and a wonderful doll sitting in a chair by it, apparently reading a book. Oh, she got back to her seat before we could see her, Sarah explained. Of course, they always do. They are as quick as lightning. Ermengarde looked from her to the door and um, Ermengarde looked from her to the door and back again. From her to the door. Ermengarde looked from her to the door and back again. Ermengarde looked from her to the door and back again. Can she walk? She asked breathlessly. Yes, answered Sarah. At least I believe she can. At least I pretend I believe she can. And that makes it seem as if it were true. Have you never pretended things? Have you never pretended things? No, said Ermengarde. Tell me about it. She was so bewitched. She was so bewitched by this odd new companion that she actually stared at Sarah instead of she actually stared at Sarah instead of at Emily, notwithstanding that Emily was the most attractive doll person she had ever seen. Notwithstanding. 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 尽管 She was so bewitched. She was so bewitched by this odd new companion that she actually stared at Sarah. She actually stared at Sarah instead of at Emily, notwithstanding that Emily was the most attractive doll person she had ever seen. Sarah, and I will tell you, it's so easy that when you begin, you can't stop. You just go on and on doing it always. And it's beautiful. Emily, you must listen. This is Ermengarde. This is Ermengarde's dream, Emily. Ermengarde, this is Emily. Would you like to hold her? Oh, may I? Said Ermengarde. May I really? She is beautiful. And Emily was put into her arms. Never in her dull, short life and had Miss Sejong dreamed of such an hour as the one she spent with Queen before they had heard the lunch bell ring. Never in her dull, short life had Miss Sejong dreamed of such an hour as the one she spent with the queer new pupil before they heard the lunch bell ring, or obliged to go downstairs. Hearthrug, the hearthrug. Sarah sat upon the hearthrug and told her strange things. She sat rather huddled up, and her grin huddled up. Huddled. She蜷缩。She sat rather huddled up, and her green eyes shone, and her green eyes shone, and her cheek flushed. She told stories of the voyage, the stories of India, but what fascinated Ermengarde the most was her fancy about the dolls who walked and talked and who could do anything they chose when the human beings were out of room, but who must keep their powers a secret, and so flew back to their place like lightning when people returned to the room. We could not do it, said Sarah seriously. You see, it's a kind of magic. Once, when she was relating the story of the search of Emily, the story of search他也讲讲述的。When she was relating the story of the search for Emily, Ermengarde saw her face suddenly change. A cloud seemed to pass over it. And put out the light in her shining eyes. A cloud seemed to pass over it. And put out the light in her shining eyes. He drew her breath in so sharply that it made a funny, sad little sound. And then she shut her lips and held them tightly closed, as if she was determined either to do or not to do something. Ermengarde had an idea that if she had been like any other little girl, she might have suddenly burst out sobbing and crying, but she didn't. Ermengarde had an idea that if she had been like any other little girl, she might have suddenly burst out sobbing and crying. She didn't. "Have you a pin?" ventured. Irmgard ventured. "Yes," Sarah answered, after a moment's silence, "but it's not in my body. It's not in my body." Then she added something in a low voice, which she tried to keep quite steady, and it was this: "Do you love your father more than anything else in all the whole world?" Ermengarde's mouth fell open a little. She knew that it would be far from behaving like a respectable child at a select seminary to say that it had never occurred to her that you could love your father, that you would do anything desperate to avoid being left alone in his society for 10 minutes. She was indeed greatly embarrassed. Irmgarde's mouth fell open a little. She knew that it would be far from behaving like a respectable child. It would be far from behaving like a respectable child at a select seminary to say that it had never occurred you could love your father, that you would do anything desperate to avoid being left alone in her society for 10 minutes. She was indeed greatly embarrassed. I I scarcely I I scarcely ever seen him, she stammered. "She is always in the library reading things." Stammered. She stammered. She stammered. She stammered. She's he's always I I scarcely ever see him, she stammered. "He's always in the library, reading things." "I love mine more than all the world 10 times over," Sarah said. Sarah said, "That is what my pin is. She has gone away. She has gone away." She put she put her head she put her head quietly down on her little huddled up knees and sat very still for a few minutes. "Outlawed," thought Ermengarde fearfully, but she did not. Her short black locks tumbled about her tears. Her short black locks tumbled about her tears. Her short black lock, short black lock. 头发。哦 her short black locks Her short black locks. My God. Her short black locks tumbled. Tumble. Her sh- 跌倒绊倒倒塌弄乱 tumble tumble tumbled her hair her tear but she did not. Her short black locks tumbled about her tears, and she sat still. But she sat still. Then she spoke without lightening her head, without lifting her head. Okay, I think that's for today. No, I think I need to read more after my class. Now I have to turn off the something. That's it. Oh, let me see. Is it? Is here? Oh, yes. It's